Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a scientific study that unravels a pretty deadly mystery, one that was hiding in plain sight. And it all kicks off with just a single number. 78. Between 1999 and 2018, that is the official number of people in Spain who died from bee, wasp, and hornet stings. Now, it's a tragic number for sure, but spread out over 20 years, it might not exactly sound like a huge national crisis, right? Well, as you might have guessed, a recent study suggests this national average is actually masking a really dangerous secret, but only in one specific part of the country. So on the surface, the risk in Spain seems pretty minimal. I mean, it's lower than in the US, France, or Switzerland. But we all know averages can be deceiving. So let's find out what the data is really telling us. Okay, so first up, let's play detective. We're going to look at the clues from the national data to build a profile of the typical victim. Who is most at risk here? The first clue, the gender divide is, wow, it's stark. Victims are overwhelmingly male. The study suggests this is probably because more men work in outdoor jobs like farming and forestry, which just naturally increases their exposure. Age is another really clear factor. More than half of all the deaths happen to people 65 and older, so that highlights a pretty significant risk for the elderly. And of course, seasonality plays a huge role. Half of all fatalities happen in just 2 months, July and August. That's when insect colonies are at their biggest and, well, we're all spending a lot more time outside. Now here's a really crucial clue. It comes from the death certificates themselves. Most of these incidents happened in so-called unspecified places. That's a strong hint that they're happening out in rural or wild settings, far away from any immediate medical help.
So we've got our victim profile, an older man, probably outdoors during the summer. But this neat little national picture, it's about to completely fall apart.
It turns out the deaths are not spread evenly across Spain at all, not even close. They are intensely concentrated. Just look at Galicia in the northwest. It accounts for more than a third of all fatalities in the entire country. Whoa. And that, right there, that is the central mystery of this whole story. How can one single region be so incredibly different from all the rest? This chart really puts the scale of the problem into perspective. While Spain's average rate is tiny, Galicia's rate in 2018 just skyrocketed to 2.22 deaths per million people. That's more than 24 times the national average. It's one of the highest rates ever recorded in scientific literature, anywhere in the world. A spike that dramatic, it demands an explanation. It's not just random bad luck. Something new, something very different, has to be happening in Galicia. So what is it?
The investigation points to one major culprit, the Asian hornet, Vespa velutina. This is an invasive species. It's not native to Spain, and its arrival is the real key to solving this mystery.
So what is an invasive alien species, or IAS? Basically, it's an organism that gets introduced to a new place and just takes over, causing all sorts of problems. And the Asian hornet? It's a textbook example. This timeline is so revealing. The hornet shows up in Europe in 2004, it hit Spain in 2010, and this is the crucial part, it's first spotted in Galicia in 2012. The timing lines up perfectly with that spike in fatalities. And it didn't just arrive, it absolutely exploded. From just 2 nests detected in 2012 to around 25,000 by 2019. The study's author calls this a spot of extremely high exposure. So for people in Galicia, this wasn't just encountering some new insect. They were living in the epicenter of a full-blown invasion. So the evidence pretty strongly connects this invasive hornet to all these deaths. And that leads to a really urgent conclusion that completely contradicts what officials had been saying. The contrast here is it's stark. As recently as 2016, authorities were actually downplaying the risk. But this new research, it concludes the exact opposite. The danger posed by the Asian hornet is unmatched by native species, simply because of its habits and its sheer numbers. And in the words of the study's author, we have to abandon the notion that the invasive species poses no greater risk than a bee. This isn't just another bee or wasp. This is a new, aggressive public health threat that was basically hiding in plain sight.
This is just such a powerful lesson in looking beyond the headlines. Without this kind of deep dive into the data, a truly deadly local problem would have stayed completely hidden inside a reassuring national average. So this investigation, it solved one mystery, but it definitely leaves us with a vital question. As our world keeps changing, what other deadly realities are hiding right now, just buried inside our national statistics?